so here I am making some pasta. Make a little well, and break an egg, beat it in, mix it in slowly. I'm not particularly great at doing this, but you'll see later I end up squishing it up with my hands. It works. So it's a process, but it's a fun process, and it's kind of foolproof, actually. And it's very relaxing and fun. It's like, actually, and it's dirt cheap, right? It's way cheaper. Not that pasta isn't cheap already, but somehow I think making it yourself is like totally worth it, and it's fun. So this is how I make it. And like, I added the salt late there. You're supposed to put the salt in with the flour. Anyway, so kind of trying to get that wall to stay up around the egg while I'm pulling it together. And then I kind of give up in a little bit. Yep, there you go. See, finger paint time. But it works. And yeah, and I would have left the regular audio of while I was actually making this, but my kids were like making all kinds of noises in the background while I was making the pasta. But anyway, it's nice to have your hands in the dough. La mano en la masa, as they say in Spanish. So anyway, so I squish it up. It's all about just getting it together, pulling it all together, having an even amount of flour to egg, basically, and everything. Just get it all together, and then if it feels too dry, like I did there, you add a little olive oil, and I end up adding a little more egg too, and just try to pull it together, go by feel. And it's like, if you've never made it before, I guess, what could I describe the dough to feel like? It feels kind of like, not quite like Play-Doh, but like more like Play-Doh than cookies dough, kind of. So you just kind of have to feel it out. And it's so cheap that if you get it wrong, it's okay. And I have a little pasta maker. You'll see like a little machine that you roll, you move the crank, and it's like this total mechanical machine, no electricity. And I love it. And my sister gave it to me. And, but if you don't have one, which most people don't have one, you just roll it out. Just take a rolling pin and roll it out as thin as you can. Roll it and then flip it over, roll it again. Just do it as many times as you can, and then you can cut it. And you could try to make it like thick like pappardella, or you could make it any shape you want. You can cut it into little squares and then try to make little bow ties. And I just use the machine and let it go through the machine. I've never tried to do any fancy shapes. Maybe I'll try to do that another time. So anyway, this is probably my first cooking video I think I've made. I think I've thought about making them before, like when I made arepas for my daughter's birthday party. We had an Encanto party. I might try to post that one. But but I really like to cook, and I like to paint, and I like to write, and I like to draw, and I'm hoping that I'll be able to share more videos like this with you of lots of just creativity that's not intimidating, because anybody can do it, really. It works, so it's good, I guess. Anyway, this is me kneading here, and so I was debating about not putting in a voiceover because I didn't know if people would just want to watch it, but I'm talking. So let's see, what else do I have to tell you about this? Well, of course, it's ridiculous, but I absolutely love listening to Italian opera when I do this, or Louis Prima. It's fun. Why not? Everything can be fun. You don't need to spend money to have fun. So, and I have no idea how much flour I put in. I just kind of grabbed some, probably maybe 2.5 cups, maybe 3 at most. And then I just, added the egg as I go, figuring it out, right? Just feeling it. So you can tell by when I'm handling it more or less what the texture is like. And you do need to knead it so that it becomes elastic. Otherwise, if you just make a ball of dough and stick it in the fridge and try to roll it, it won't hold together. So you need to work the gluten, I guess is what they say in those cooking shows, and so that it becomes elastic. But my mom actually made a lot of pasta when I was a kid, but I don't know why I never She never like specifically showed me how to knead. And I don't think I watched her do it, but actually I probably just watched it on cooking shows. I probably don't do it right anyway, but I like doing it. It makes my hands happy. But yeah, my mom would make homemade pasta. She'd make gnocchi, and my grandmother would make it too. And it's a fun thing. It really is. So yeah, so my mother-in-law got me that awesome pastry cutter. And so now you cut it in four, and then you stick it in the fridge. Now, I'm trying not to use plastic anymore because plastic is bad for like your body, aside from the environment and so many things. So, and it's aesthetically very unpleasing. So I think like one of my weird theories is like, if you try to always make things the most beautiful way, not that like lump of tea towel is beautiful, but if you try to do things the most beautiful way, it also ends up sometimes being the healthiest way. So yeah, here we go. I'm putting it through the machine to make it nice and thin. And one of my common mistakes is to make it too thin. My kids are in cyber school, and so like usually we go late. It's a bit flexible, and usually we end up getting done late. So which we did on this day. In fact, my daughter was working on homework while this video was going, while I was shooting this video, and I was helping her with it, like, talking to her about it, answering her questions and stuff while I was doing it. So there's something nice about work that you can do with your hands that is somewhat mindless. Like you have to kind of have a general idea of what you're doing, but there's like a repetitiveness to it. It's something that people have done over time too. Like there's just something cool about that. Like to do something that's been done for like centuries, like that's awesome. I don't know how long these machines have been made, but people have been making pasta for centuries. Okay, so here, I'm going to just do another round. Here we go. Okay, so smushy, smush, smush. And you put it in, and you do this little thing, which I showed you in the previous one, but anyway. Just like you turn the crank, and then you move the little knob over each time. It starts at like, I forget if the numbers go bigger or smaller, because I'm not looking at the machine right now. I am doing a voiceover. But like you just turn the knob. I think it starts at 0. 0 is like the fattest, and then you'll actually see the metal rollers, how far apart they are. So and then you make it thinner little by little. And you don't want to make it too thin. If it's too thin, it is a problem. But yeah, so you get it like, whatever, like the thickness of a pasta, right? It's pretty simple. And one thing that's important that I did not do until like after, you pretty much at this point, you need to have some cornmeal, or, the stuff that you make polenta from, not like a polenta mix, but it's like, I think it's called cornmeal. And so you just like, you use that, and sometimes when you buy it in the store, you might see some of that in the homemade pastas, but it helps to keep the pasta from sticking. So it's kind of good at this stage to have that ready to go. So after you get it rolled and then made into noodles, you can throw it right into the cornmeal. I end up tossing it in there later because I hadn't thought ahead, because I was winging it. But I'm glad I taped it, because it's like, it is fun. And I'm happy I can share it with other people. I was lucky that my mom was like really, she made everything from scratch. She stayed home and took care of us. And like, it was really cool that she made everything from scratch. So I got to see her doing a lot of things. But yeah, so my grandmother too, like I said earlier, it's just nice. Hell, you might be watching this going, I'm a professional pasta maker. I've been making better pasta than you for my whole life. And you probably have, because I make it like once a year, and I've made it like maybe 10 times in my entire life. But my favorite is to make gnocchi. It's so much fun. I made it with my nieces. I should make it with my kids. I haven't done it. They're like old enough for sure now. But you basically make mashed potatoes and you use egg and you use flour, but it's different. Like you don't want to, you really need to work the dough to make pasta quite a bit so that it's nice and stretchy. But with gnocchi, you have to like not overwork it. You have to work it just enough that it'll stay together well. Otherwise, it will taste like a rock. And it's just like eating like fat pasta that you don't want to eat. So it has to be like just in that sweet spot. So maybe I'll do a video on making gnocchi. Like my grandmother used to do it and then roll it off a fork. My mom showed me how to do that. You just like take your thumb and go woof, and maybe I'll try to do it. And I'm sure it won't be perfect because I don't have much practice at it. But don't worry about being perfect. It's just, it's really not that important. If it tastes good, it's good. If it doesn't taste great, but it tastes pretty good, that's good too. And you've made it. That was fun, right? So it's totally worth it. Just don't be afraid to do something that takes time or anything like that. Anyway, it makes me happy to do this stuff. So, I mean, some people talk about getting out your aggressions by like hitting a pillow, but I don't think so. I think if you're like mad and you hit a pillow, you're just going to be more mad. You're going to be like, yeah, I'm mad. I'm going to get more mad now. It's fun. No, you just have to kind of like, if you're really pissed off, it's good to find something that's calming to do. And, not that I was like particularly pissed off, but I was in need of my own space. And so sometimes it's like my way of finding my mental space. And maybe that's why my mom, with 3 daughters, made so much stuff by hand. Pretty funny, probably. I'm sure we were not the funnest all the time. So I only have 2 kids, and I love them and I want to be with them all the time, but they do create a feeling of stress, just a feeling of being overwhelmed, overstimulated, let's say. Just like, and multiple things being watched, or just constant talking to themselves when they're playing, and like it's adorable and wonderful, but like it just, that sort of thing can wear on you, just makes it hard, and then sometimes just like asking them to do things and having to struggle to get them to listen can be frustrating and difficult. And you might have frustrations at work or frustrations in anything. Life is full of frustrations. In fact, earlier today, my husband was changing the faucet in our kitchen, and there was this big disaster. So like he tried to turn off the water. He thought he turned off the water, and he had changed the faucet before when we first moved here. And so he thought he knew how, but the thing is, like, when they put in our dishwasher, they changed something. So as he's doing this, hot water comes shooting out of this one little piece of metal, whatever. It's like a bendy metal thing, and there's a word for it. I don't remember. But anyway, so he's trying to catch it with buckets, and then I'm like, oh my God, what are we gonna do? So I open the window, and we start spraying it out the window. We had to hold it this like perfect angle. We were able to get it. We had to open the top window finally to get it out, and it worked. So like while he's holding it out the window, I ran across the street and asked our neighbor to help us, and he was so cool. And he came in and he showed us where the shutoff valve was, because I figured, all of our houses in our neighborhood are the same. They're all built in the 50s, and anyway, he was the coolest. So he helped us shut it off. And gave him a painting. My husband got him a 6-pack. And we were super grateful for good neighbors. It's so nice. But then really nice. Anyway, so we also, so after the whole water thing, we had called Horizon Services to come fix it. And by the time they came, we'd already turned off the water at least, but we were like, maybe we should have them install it. So they installed it for us. So it's guaranteed for 3 years. Sometimes it's worth it to do things yourself. Sometimes it's not. So how can I bring this back to pasta? Well, when you're making pasta, there will never be a huge disaster. Like nothing terrible is going to happen, right? If you're trying to do your own like plumbing, if you're going to try to do your own electrical, bigger things can happen. So, well, that's it. I hope that you might give this a try, or it might just have been fun for you to watch. And please like and subscribe and make comments, ask questions. You can even make fun of me. I don't care. I just love sharing this, and I hope you loved watching it. Thank you, and have a wonderful day.